Think you have better predictions than us? Prove it. Go over to MMAtalk.tv and enter your predictions for UFC 102. You win, you get $1,000 of free MMA gear from PerformanceMMA.com.
What's up, everybody? Osborne and McCarty are back to do another topic video. We're going to be doing this one with our buddy PhantomUFCFan. Definitely check out his response to this video. He always has good things to say. Check it out. The topic at hand, our thoughts on early stoppages in MMA. We wanted to talk about this because there's been a lot of bad stoppages lately in MMA, UFC specifically, and a lot of people are ticked about it, so we figured we'd kind of let you guys know our thoughts on it. Before we get into anything specific, we want you guys to know that we are not bashing refs at all. Next to the fighters themselves, the refs have the hardest job, for sure. Yeah. I mean, the fighter's well-being is in their hands, and there's really no way to win as a ref. If you stop it too early, people get mad. You stop it too late, they get mad. So it's a tough spot to be in. So, you know, again, we're not bashing refs at all, but we figured we'd talk a little bit about it and just kind of give you our thoughts. Matt, let's start with you. Give us an example of what a bad stoppage would be, a specific fight, just so people can get an idea where we're coming from.
A recent one, in my opinion, is the Amir Sadallah and Johnny Hendricks fight. I mean, okay, he got caught a little, maybe. I really don't know how bad he was hurt. But then after that, you know, Hendricks did swarm him. He didn't really hit him with anything. I mean, they were really grazing shots, illegal shots at that, to the back of the head. And really, the referee just had a bad angle and horrible stoppage. I mean, it was just bad. Yeah. It was just...
A lot of people want to blame it on ring rust with Sadallah, but he was still in the fight.
He was sharp at the start. I thought he looked great coming out there.
Yeah. So, yeah, bad stoppage there. On the other hand, Jared, give us an example of a good stoppage in a fight, where a fight definitely needed to be stopped.
Well, a lot of people, they don't really agree with this, but I think Liddell versus Rampage, you know, he got knocked out, dude. He was out cold. He woke back up, but it was just a great stoppage. I don't think he had his stuff together when he came back to consciousness.
Yeah, I remember when I saw that, and I saw Liddell hit the ground. You know, I couldn't tell if he was out or not, but I remember seeing him standing up, you know, grabbing onto the ref, like, why did he stop the fight? And I was like upset. You know, why did he stop the fight? Then you watch the replay, and in one of those shots that Rampage, you know, nailed on him, he was out. He was unconscious. When a fighter goes unconscious, I think that's, you know...
Stop it.
Yeah, stop the fight. That makes perfect sense. Yeah. Matt, let's go back to you. Talk about what qualifies as a good stoppage by a ref, specifically.
Like you said, if a fighter's unconscious, I mean, you can't intelligently defend yourself, which really is the big deal. If you're standing there just blocking, absorbing a bunch of shots, you're not being intelligent. You're taking unanswered shots. You're going to get smoked. So if you're unconscious, you can't do that. Stop the fight. But yeah, so it's, you know, a good stoppage would be, say, I can't think of any fights offhand, but a guy gets clipped, and he's just laying there, trying to grapple a little maybe, but if you're just taking shots, not trying to transition, it's just, you got to stop it. I mean,
and again, you're falling out of the category of intelligent defense, which is a term that Randy Couture made famous.
Get to a safe position.
Basically. Right, but it seems like intelligent defense has kind of been blurred as far as what the actual definition is. So it seems like the referees need to get together and be a little bit more specific on what actually qualifies.
Definitely.
We've seen enough fights now to know, obviously anything can happen at any time, but we've seen enough, you know, data to be able to make some accurate description on what qualifies and what doesn't.
Yeah.
Jared, let's go to you. Talk about what qualifies as a bad stoppage by a referee.
Well, one that I was really upset about was Chael Sonnen against Paulo Filho.
WC.
WEC, he's in an armbar. He's yelling at the top of his lungs, but he doesn't tap out. Josh Rosenthal, I don't know what he thought, but I guess he thought that he didn't want to fight anymore, and he stopped the fight. He didn't tap. He didn't say stop. He just yelled, which he did in his Babalu fight. I thought it was a horrible stoppage. And, you know, another one of the things is bad angles. You know, referees get bad angles, like the Johnny Hendricks fight, you know. If you can't see what's going on, get in a better position before you stop it. That's just, I don't know. It's a hard thing, though.
It is tough because it's like, you know, they're in a bad angle. Things happen so quick. You know, how do you get to that better angle?
Yeah.
This might sound ridiculous, but Matt and I were throwing about the idea of actually having other referees outside of the octagon in some sort of communication. Because other major sports like football and baseball, there's multiple referees who see it at better angles, so when they get together, they can kind of decide what happens. Whether or not that's actually a logical idea or not, we'll leave that up to you guys. Maybe you can leave us some comments on it. But this isn't just a video to complain about fights being stopped or not. We want to talk about improving the situation here. What can be done? And again, we're not refs ourselves. We're not experts on this, so this is just our opinion, and we're interested in hearing what you guys have to say, too, to add to this. But, Jared, you were talking earlier, and I thought you raised a really good point about having better communication with the fighters that you're reffing. Remember, Herb Dean, he's probably one of the best communicators right now, but he also
made some bad calls.
He's made some bad calls, but it seems like he's almost considered like the Big John of UFC now because all the other refs are making bad calls. He's not. Do you think communication is one of those things that's making him a better ref now?
I think it's a huge thing. Like I was saying with Chael Sonnen, he needed, Josh Rosenthal needed to communicate with him, ask him if he was okay. And another one of the fights that, because he's my favorite fighter, Brandon Vera against Purdue. He was getting beat pretty bad, but what were there, 23 seconds?
If that.
Saying, I'm okay, I'm okay. But, you know, a lot of fighters do that whether they're okay or not, so I guess it is the referee's call.
True. Now, to end this, we want to just be real specific here, and this might come across a little strong, but when you're a fighter, there is no confusion on what you're putting yourself into. You walk into that ring or that octagon, you know you're in a dangerous position. I don't think any fighters out there are confused about that when they step in there. They are putting themselves in danger. There's a lot of jobs out there that people have where they know going into it, there's a situation here that I could possibly die at the worst, or I could be very seriously injured. There's never been a fighter that thinks he's walking into a cage, he's going to come out no problem. There's always that risk. So fighters are definitely in danger. Now, because of that, and this is, again, might come across a little strong, I think refs should err in the side of danger. Normally you hear it, the fighter's safety is our #1 concern. These fighters are putting months and months, years and years of their life on the line training for this fight. And one loss in the UFC these days, next event, you're undercard, you lose there, you're done. I mean, there's so much competition coming in. One loss is a huge thing. Yeah. It's not like a football team where you lose a game in the regular season. Who cares? We can make it up. We'll still get into the playoffs. With a fighter, one loss might actually shatter their career. You never know what's going to happen. So I think fighters would actually agree with this. And to prove that, we all just watched WC a couple days ago where Miguel Torres got knocked out. That guy's a fighter. I mean, I know he lost, but he went out in a way I think a fighter should go out. He took a couple shots, and a lot of people were kind of complaining back and forth. But this is an interview he just had the other day. This is the question that the interviewer asked Miguel Torres. This is after he got knocked out. He says, I don't know if you rewatched the fight yet, but you took some shots while you were out. Have you checked it out, and has there been any contact with Josh Rosenthal, the referee of that particular fight? Here's what Miguel Torres says, and I think this really hammers our point home. He said, yeah, people told me about that. They said I took too many punches after the fact. But you know what, man? I talked to all of the referees before the fight, and I let them know that that's the way I want to go out. I want to go out. I don't want there to be any question of if I was still okay or still awake. If I'm going out, I want to go out, man. I respect Rosenthal for doing that. People thought it might be a bad decision, but again, if I'm going to go out in a fight, I want to go out. And I think that sums it up pretty well. Yeah. Definitely leave your comments on this video. I think it's going to raise some buzz, at least we're hoping so. But that's it for this one, guys. I'm Josh Osborne.
Matt McCarty. Jared McCarty.
And we will catch you on the next topic. Later.